I'd rather die than see you suffer. And I'm sorry for one day you'll bless me for letting away.
She's a well-loved three-time Tony nominee who's currently headlining the off-Broadway staging of the cult musical Carrie. Please welcome to the show, Marin Mazzie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You are right in the midst of previews.
We're in the midst of previews. Yeah, we had our first week of previews, and we opened March 1st. So we're truly doing the preview. We're changing every day. I just came from rehearsal, just restaged Eva's week again, and you know they're working on the storytelling, getting the piece to the tone that they want, and so it's been a great process.
Can you believe that you are starring in Carrie,
No.
the musical? I mean, isn't this crazy that
It is
Carrie's
crazy.
back? And
It is, and it's been because I did the reading. We did this reading in 2009.
Yeah.
So it's been in my head in the sense of, and they've been working on it, and so I mean, kind of hoped it was going to happen, and then like when Bernie Telsey and MCC came in to kind of pick it up and really wanted to run with it. So we've been doing these little readings and these little labs over the last couple years. So it's been there, but finally getting into the rehearsal space and putting it on its feet and now having it live is such a great thing.
You play Margaret White.
Yes, I play Margaret White. I play Carrie's mother.
Bible-thumping mother.
Yes, and Molly Ranson is my wonderful Carrie, and she's amazing.
And
the whole cast is phenomenal. Yeah.
A lot of young talents.
Then they're all young. Young is the word. I could be all of their mothers. That's not the right word, but I could be the mother to all of them.
The collective mother
the collective
of the
mother.
company.
I am the collective mother
Yes.
of the company.
So you and Molly have some crazy intense scenes.
Yes.
Carrie and her mom have a tumultuous
We have
relationship.
a very interesting relationship. It's very close. It's full of love, and I'd say a little codependent, a little passive aggressive, little it's on a lot of it's crazy on a lot of levels.
And you did the reading with Molly.
With Molly,
a few
yes.
years ago.
Yes.
So did you guys immediately have a good connection?
We did. We had a great connection. When I first met her, we just worked on music, and she had gone to LaGuardia High School, and she played Mother in Ragtime when she was 16.
Wow.
So that was our immediate connection.
Did you ever do a back to before duet?
We haven't done that, but I think we might.
Yeah, that might be
I think we're going to have
thing.
to do that. Yes. We'll do a whole new version of it. Yeah. She is phenomenal, and I'm so proud of her, like a mother. She's really, really great, and I love working with her. And we share a dressing room at the Lortel that's about the size of this chair. So we're very close. We have just enough space to we got these yoga mats, and we sort of lay next to each other between shows. We're getting really close. We're getting to know each other very well.
Literally close.
Yes.
So you get the call that they want you to do this reading.
Yes.
and you immediately think what?
Well, I had to say, I kind of said, Jason and I were driving, and I thought my cell reception was a little off, and I said, Carrie? The musical Carrie? Yes. Okay, well, send it to me.
Right.
And then they sent it to me, and I read it and listened to the music. And I also, at that point, then knew Stafford was involved, and that
Stafford
really...
Arima, the director.
Stafford Arima, our amazing director, and I had worked with him in Ragtime, because he was Frank Galati's associate, and so I've known him for many years, but never really worked with him on a project that was his own. And so once that I read it, and then we talked about what he was wanting to do with it, and then I got really, really excited about it.
Which was what? What was the pitch?
Well, the pitch was that it takes place now, Carrie.
Right.
It's not in the 70s, it's not in the
Right.
80s. At first they weren't sure exactly if they were going to update it,
Yeah.
but they knew that they needed to, I think one of the main problems with the original was the imbalance between the Margaret and Carrie stuff and the kids stuff, and
Right.
it wasn't cohesive, and there were things that were sort of extraneous that didn't need to be going on with the kids. So that Dean and Michael and Larry were really coming back to the table to rewrite the piece. And so it wasn't just that we were going to take that piece as it was and remount it. It's truly been rewritten. They've written so much new, not for Margaret and Carrie, that stuff is basically intact, but a new scene, different for me, and then a lot of things that are different for the kids, and also just Anne Marie Milazzo, Mary Mitchell Campbell, our music team, Doug Besterman is our amazing orchestrator, have really made it sound cohesive, like a cohesive score. Also, when we did decide to bring the show up to present day, which I think was extremely an important decision, making the music sound, very much today like what people are listening to, and so so the process has, and I've as each little stage has gone on, I've been more and more impressed and wanted to stay with it, because it was only making progress. It wasn't like anything was happening that I thought, oh, this isn't going the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we should set this up a little bit. So the original Carrie played 5 performances.
Right.
On Broadway,
Yeah.
what was the Virginia Theater at the time. You were already in New York.
I was in New York. I actually saw it.
You saw it in 1988.
I saw it in
May
1988.
You were sitting in the audience.
I
of the
sat in
Virginia.
the audience.
Were you already on? You already done Big River?
I had done Big
or?
River. I had done Big River. I don't think I had. I think I maybe just was going to start to do Into the Woods.
Right.
And I've got a ticket with a friend of mine at TKTS.
So we have a first-hand account.
We'd sort of heard about, you heard, because it had previewed,
And what did you heard?
opened.
Oh my God, you have to see this.
Well, yeah, that it, you heard it was terrible and it was going to close. But it, when I went to see it, I remember, what I remember are the things that aren't in our show anymore, which are the things that weren't really that great about it.
Right.
I was younger, so I wasn't focusing on Margaret. I wasn't focusing on that character. I was looking at other women and the girls and that sort of thing. So I don't remember a lot of.
Do you maybe remember Out for Blood, getting the pig's blood?
That's what I remember the most.
That's what everyone talks about.
That is what I remember the most.
Out for Blood is not in the new production.
No, it is not. Kill the pig, kill the pig, kill the pig. That is not in our
With
production
squeals,
of Carrie.
I think. You can hear the pig.
Yes. And Charlotte,
Charlotte
writhing around and sexy as ever. But yes, that is not in our show. So I do remember that.
And Betty Buckley.
And Betty, yes.
Betty
I
Buckley.
remember Betty coming down the steps.
The big white
Big staircase.
Yeah.
I remember that, and her being, all in black and that. But I don't remember, it's weird. You remember sort of the things that were so kind of not good, and that's the things that really stuck in my head.
Wow.
So.
Well, I'm glad you got to see it. So you are an actual.
Yeah, I think that's why when I got the phone call, Carrie, I was like, oh, Carrie. Okay. So.
Out for Blood.
Right.
So and apparently Betty Buckley wore boots that were probably too stylish, and then I guess she sang "When There's No One," which is a gorgeous song.
Yes.
That you get to still sing in Act 2 with a sort of a low-cut negligee.
Oh.
Now you're Margaret White.
No,
Let's talk about the fashion, because this is not
is
your
the
most glamorous role.
Oh, it's the most glamorous
There's a
you've
lot
ever
of
seen
denim.
me.
We're featuring denim.
I'm wearing denim from the Vermont Country Store.
Is that
true.
really where it's from?
Yeah.
It reminded me. It was a little Sister Wives.
Emily
to
Rebel's
me.
she's done an amazing job with the costumes, because everything looks like what people would wear.
Yeah.
And I mean, this takes place in Chamberlain, Maine. It's not, in urban New York either.
Right.
But I think I've seen people walk around in what I wear, so it's not that. I mean, that was the thing. We wanted to make her, in a sense, a woman who goes out. I mean, she has a job. She supports her daughter. She doesn't stay at home in black robes and crosses and pray all day, So that was, and getting that look with it being conservative, so finding that tone, it took, that was interesting, and the wig and the color and the style and all of that. It's quite glamorous.
So you feeling sexy up there?
Oh my God, it's the most. The thing is, I don't have to worry about a corset. I don't have to worry about high heels. I'm in flats. I'm in a jumper. It's kind of great, actually, because it's very comfortable. I'll say that. Yeah.
There's no cleavage.
There's
no Marin Mazzie. We've all seen it.
There's none. Are you kidding me? Not at all. There's none of it. It's a big sweater, a big cable sweater, and I'm about as covered as I could be.
Is there any danger when you're playing a part like that? It seems very easy to go into a caricature? I mean, okay, so she's a very religious woman.
Right. Well, I mean, that's been the whole sort of thing is we have not wanted to go towards a caricature. And I mean, this is what I just keep saying. There are very devoutly religious people that walk around all the time.
Right.
They're not, and I don't, she is very devout, very religious. There is no doubt about it.
Right.
And there's also no doubt about it to me that she truly believes what she's doing is right and is for God. And she isn't a crazy murderer. She just really believes that she's saving her daughter. And it just happens to be what she does is a little crazy.
Well, she like locks her in closets.
She locks her in a closet because she's so afraid that God is going to burn her. And she puts her in a closet. I mean, I never had read the Bible, and so I've been reading a lot of the Bible. And, the references, there is a reference, I think it's in Matthew, of praying in a closet. And, so it's not so crazy that she puts her in a closet. It's the place that she can pray and that God will hear her.
Right.
So it all makes a lot of sense to me. It's not, it's not this sort of just caricature religious zealot.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I thought about it a lot because of your performance. And I thought when Carrie was a little girl, this was probably the best relationship ever. But the idea of her becoming a woman is the most horrifying.
It is the most horrifying.
Yeah.
It means that this is like the worst thing that could have happened. This is what I prayed would never happen.
Yeah.
And thought that it was going to be okay. And now it's not, so. But yeah, I mean, thinking of them, their relationship very close as mother-daughter growing up, very loving, very, but her being so secluded from everything. And then when she goes to school, I mean, and her all of these discoveries that she's making about herself, her body's changing, she has these powers. I mean, which is to me very metaphorical of a child coming into their own and discovering their how they're going to go out into the world. And it's not met with anything positive at home, unfortunately.
So you've been referencing the Bible to help.
Yes.
What about Stephen King's novel?
I've read the
help?
book. It definitely the portrayal in the novel of Margaret is very one note, and I think he did that that's what he needed to do for the book, and so. But definitely, I read it twice, but I tend to be more when I'm doing my referencing and my research, it's much more Bible related because she really is. That is how she lives. She lives by that book. Tells her how to live her life. That's the only thing.
Are you a fan of horror and?
I know I'm not a scary movie person. I get scared. So I never saw Carrie. I have seen it. You
didn't see it back in the day? Wow.
I was too scared.
Never saw the hand coming out.
I saw that in clips, and I was like, I can't go see that.
But now you have.
I have seen it. Yeah.
You have to be able to reference everything, I guess.
Oh yeah, and I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And it's not really a horror movie. It's not like Friday the 13th. It's not a slasher thing. It's more a thriller, I would call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about Carrie made me wonder what you were like in high school.
Oh.
So let's go back to the Midwest.
Oh gosh, yes.
Let's travel back
Let's
in
travel
time.
back to Rockford, Illinois.
I mean, were you more
Boylan
Carrie
High
or
School.
Chris, the bad
I
girl?
definitely was. I'd say I was more Sue with maybe a little Chris mixed in.
A little bit of bad girl?
I was nice. I was a little bad girl because I went to Catholic school.
Ah, so you had to rebel.
So you had to rebel. But I was, for the most part, pretty good, pretty happy. I had pretty good childhood. I had great parents who supported me, all the way of everything I was doing, and I was doing my shows and all that sort of stuff, and taking voice lessons, and pom pom girl, that sort of thing.
Popular.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't think about it in that way. I just was wanting to do what I want, doing our shows in our high school. That was like the main thing. I was very focused on that, not as much on my studies as I probably should have been.
So what kind of shows did you get to do?
Oh, let's see. I
high
did
school.
Sarah Brown in Guys and Dolls. I played Lucille in No No Nanette. Can't Take It With You, we did. We would also do these pizzazz, we do these variety shows that were hilarious and bizarre and had some weird themes.
Bizarre how? What kind of
Well, I went to high school with Joe Mantello.
Right.
And Bob Greenblatt. And our junior year, this pizzazz, this local guy wrote sort of a Star Trek, because this was in the 70s, a Star Trek theme. And so Joe actually played this character called Kaz, which was sort of a combination of the Wizard of Oz and Spock, and he was sort of hunched over, and he would spout things from the Wizard of Oz, which is sort of interesting since he then
directed Wicked.
Wicked. That was the foreshadowing of that.
And was this better or worse than his normal heart performance? Is it about the same level?
Let me think. Maybe the normal heart was just a little better. I think it was, because
more
the play is a better written play. Okay. That's why, yeah. So.
And was Bob Greenblatt the head of NBC in this
Bob Greenblatt
spectacle?
was backstage producing it all.
Okay, always the producer.
Oh, he produced it all. Yes, he was always producing everything. So, we had a lot of fun. So we would do these like crazy. These little, that one actually had a real story, and then some of them were sort of reviews, and so it was fun. And then we had the Starlight Theater where we all worked in the summertime, and we did a lot of theater.
You've been on a pretty clear path since then. I mean,
yes.
Your career seems pretty smooth when you look at it on paper.
I mean, on paper, there's certainly like lean years.
Were there rough?
Yeah, definitely.
What was the roughest?
Well, I mean, just moving here in 1982, almost 30 years ago. Holy, I was 2. My first job was at Elmsford Dinner Theater, or I guess now it's called Westchester Evening Dinner Theater, in the chorus of Barnum.
Okay.
And I had absolutely no circus skills whatsoever. But they hired me, I guess, because I could sing, and I had really long white hair down to my butt. And
For real? That was your Crystal Gale hair? Or
Crystal
in the show?
Gale hair.
Or that was your natural hair?
Oh, it was my natural hair.
Wow,
It was
you were
not the
rocking that
natural
look.
color, but it was the natural hair.
You were just a fan of that look?
I had to have long hair because when I was in grade school, my mom cut my hair really short because she couldn't stand it. It was all messy.
So that was part of the rebellion?
I had never
to your butt?
down to my butt, yeah.
When's the last time you had that?
I got it cut in 1983. A casting director convinced me that I had to cut my hair because it was just too much. It was like really, really long.
It sounds ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was beautiful though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saved
Did you used to ever wrap it up in a big bun?
Oh, yes.
All kinds
of. It was all in a bun and all of that, yes. But in the Barnum at the very end, the join the circus, I put it in a big ponytail, braided ponytail, and I swung it around and I went down on the splits and juggled scarves, which anyone can juggle scarves. Yeah. So
that was your circus trick?
That was my circus trick. Yeah.
Juggling scarves. So those years were a little tough in the beginning.
Those first few years,
Until you cut your hair, and
until
then ever
I cut my
since
hair,
then,
everything changed. No, but I mean, it was a good progression. I mean, the thing that I feel really was a great thing was doing Merrily in La Jolla in 1985, and meeting Steve Sondheim and meeting James Lapine, and that and meeting Des McAnuff, who was the artistic director, and that's how I got into Big River. And so that's when the networking of the business.
You met the A-list.
I met the A-list, yes.
In La Jolla.
And it helped out.
You were in Next to Normal with Jason Daniely.
Yes,
your
that guy, my husband.
Your adorable husband. And that show, you walked into that show and it alredy had this
amazing
fan
base. Yes, it did.
You replaced Alice Ripley.
Right.
And so there were already these I'll use the word rabid fans who would stay at the stage door every night. And what was it like walking into that?
And would come see the show so many times. That was really interesting. I mean, I loved that show and I loved telling that story every night. And I think that's a thing that just became so moving to both Jason and myself, were these people that kept coming back because they were really connected to the story in some way. Through how they felt about their lives, or they were bipolar, or had their mother, or when you started to really hear the stories from them, it was a really, really moving thing. So it didn't seem weird. It wasn't like I felt, oh, these are just crazy, weird people that are staying here every night. They really all had a reason, and it was a healing show for them. And so I felt very responsible for telling that story every night as best we could, because people needed it. And I've never been in a show quite like that. And so that was really an amazing experience.
What is it like playing a role like Diana or Margaret White? And is it easy to shake it when Marin goes
Playing
home?
Diana was not easy to shake, and Alice and I actually talked about that,
really?
That it was not easy to shake. And
So she haunted you as well.
She haunted me, yeah. And Margaret's starting to haunt me a little bit. I'm trying to be able to shake her. But right now it's hard because I'm living it so much. I'm living it all day because we're rehearsing all day.
Right.
So there isn't really time to sort of let my mind. But I think, you know, these women, what I do, what helps me is I walk around the city as them in my mind.
Wow.
And that really helps me because they're both contemporary women.
Right.
Walking around and looking at people and how is Margaret, or how when I was playing Diana, how would they react to people and how would they look at a situation or treat a situation or be in a situation. So I tend to kind of, if you're going to say obsess, if I'm obsessive, I get obsessive about that sort of stuff.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Is that method?
I don't know what it is. It's me. It's Marin method.
Marin.
It's my method.
Do you like listen to a Margaret White songs? Do you like?
I don't do that. I don't listen to the music. I might say lines or spout. Well, now I know Bible verses, so I'll sit on the subway and think of things, and I'll spout in my head. I haven't gotten to the point yet where I've stood up and said. But that's coming. We've only been doing the show for a week, so probably in a couple weeks you might see me on the subway.
And I hope someone's videotaping that. I know Piper Laurie came to the show from
She
the
did.
movie.
She
What was
came
that
to
like?
the first performance.
Yeah.
It was
Did
so
you know she was going to be there?
No.
Or she just surprised you?
She just surprised
Did you get to
us.
meet her?
I met her. She's so beautiful. And Betty sent flowers the first night, these most amazing yellow roses that were like this tall. She sent to the...
See this?
Yeah.
All the ladies get along.
Yes, and Betty's coming soon. I won't say when. I know because she told me, which I wish she hadn't, but...
Will that be hard?
I can't say that I won't be thinking about her.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's very supportive, and the show is so different. And
Yeah, exactly.
And plus, she's been a long time since she did it. So
Yeah.
it's, you know, I think she's just coming to be supportive and to see it and be curious about it. Yeah. So,
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Have you known Betty for a long time?
We've known each other. We've never really worked together. You know, it's this thing of you do benefits and you do events. She and Jason worked together many years ago, and so kind of know her through that, and yeah.
Then you and Jason, you still you go do your romantic concerts.
We
all
do.
over, don't
We
you?
do.
When
Yes,
when
we
you're
do.
not working in New York.
Yes, and we're actually going to be doing some while I'm doing Carrie.
Oh, are you?
Yes. So some things that we'd had booked and stuff.
Does he still nail things like Valentine's Day, which is coming up?
Well, we sort of have gone off that sort of route, but he just texted me and said, "What size are you wearing now?"
Okay.
I'm like, who wants to know? I did text him. This could be because of Margaret, because he's been seeing me in a jumper now.
Yeah.
And he came to the first preview, and I texted him at intermission and said, "Will you still sleep with me?" And he didn't text back.
You're still waiting for the answer.
Still waiting for the answer.
Or maybe he's getting you a long sleeve cover-up negligee like Margaret
He's going
White.
on the Vermont Country Store website, and he's now buying my clothes from there.
Some sexy Vermont negligee.
Yes, exactly. And then my lovely white nightie, yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
It's so great
you.
to talk to
It's
you
great to
always.
talk
I
to you
loved you in
too.
the show.
Thank you.
It's a great performance, and everyone needs to get down to the Lucille Ortal and see Carrie the musical, starring Marin Mazzie.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Marin. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.